you have one that you're writing, finishing up, and hopefully querying soon.
Yes.
You started another one. Do you have like, I'm assuming you do have like a notebook's worth of just ideas and yeah,
Yep.
different. Do you have like a bunch of half projects lying around everywhere?
Oh yeah, of course. Notebook right here, just with like all the notes for the upcoming one. I think I know what I'm writing next, but I have like two other ideas that are kind of on the back burner that I think I might like give a little bit more time to just in case. But I think I'm gonna go with what I'm gonna go with. But yeah, like everybody, it's like I have a note running on my phone. I have like a Notion document. I have my notebooks.
Yeah, my fantasy world stuff is like I can do like I've got comic book ideas, I've got short story ideas and
Yeah.
novellas. Like it's like so I'll probably never be able to write it all, you know. Yeah, but I can't help my like as I'm writing a sentence, I'm like, oh, there's another idea. I'll just put it over here and
I
yeah.
know. Yeah, there's so many listed, and the thing that really bugs me is it's really only plays that I have this issue with, but I have a bunch that are just like not fully done, but have like, like 30 pages of scenes, but they're just not cohesive in an order. And it's one of those things where it's like, ooh, I just want to feel like it's finished, but then you have all these other ideas. So yeah, it's worse with me for that than with novels. I think because I think it takes less time, but clearly not.
Yeah. Well, that is an interesting thing. I've found it feels like the same amount of work to create the story, whether it's like a short story or a novel or any, like for some reason, creating the story still feels like almost the same amount of work.
Yeah. No, totally. I think in terms of just like getting to know the characters really well and making them feel like real people in the setting and whatever plot twists you have and setting up the clues, all of that is not even, it has nothing to do with your writing style. That's like, you have to do all of that and then put it down. I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've worked on, I have a few short stories that I've worked on and I remember like figuring out all the characters and doing all the stuff. And then I wrote, like the 1-page short story. I'm like, that's it. Maybe I should. That was a lot of work to like just do the one little, and then they always expand because I can't help myself. But
that's super cool. I honestly just did the same thing. I have a short story I wrote in January off a Readsy prompt, and I'm turning it into a play.
Nice.
So it's spinning
awesome.
on. Yeah, it's fun to do that though, to take the little bits of writing and grow them.
Yeah, it's always funny when I saw something it was like a meme, but it was basically talking about like, characters really do take on a life of their own. And so it's funny. It's so funny how like, I remember texting my brother this a lot where I'll be writing and I'll be like, well, I wrote today and the story just really changed. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I didn't do it. I just kept following where I was going and all of a sudden it was totally different than what I had written down,
Yeah, absolutely. It's been funny. I think I haven't realized what a fully fleshed out character really feels like until this book. Because it has gotten to the point where I feel like I know at least my main character so well, and then I look back at earlier drafts and I'm like, oh, I knew nothing, and then once you get to that point, it's like everything kind of goes out from there. It's been really cool to experience that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool to see. I've been working on mine for a very long time, mostly because when I started, I just had no idea I had no idea so much that when I sat down to write it, like I felt so silly being like, I want to write a book. Cause like I had never, like in school and stuff, writing was like my least favorite thing to do. Like I only took the bare minimum classes cause I just didn't want to do it. And so, yeah, but I don't know, it grows on you, I guess.
For sure. Yeah. It is funny. I know so many people who will be like, oh, I could never write a book. Or like, I had a friend when we were like 10 and it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she said, well, I couldn't write books, but I can read them. I could be an editor. And I was like, girl, looking back, it's like everyone kind of stops themselves, like, and it's to be able to then go forward, even when you're feeling silly and try it, I think is really impressive and really brave because so many people are like, well, I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how. It's like, I had no idea how. You didn't know how, but then you do it.
Yeah. Well, and you know, you have so much more time than you think you do. I just turned 34 this year, and you that gives you a little more perspective of like, oh, you have a lot of time in your life. So like when you're younger, when you're in your early 20s and or like late teens, you just think like, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to be able to do it
Yeah.
ever, you know. But then you think about, like, you know, Tolkien was what, in his 50s and 60s when he was putting out Lord of the Rings, and so I've had to remind myself of that a lot when I'm working, and I'm like, I just don't know if I'm ever going to get this done. But I'm like, I have time. Like, I'm not, you know,
Yeah.
even if I publish it when I'm 40, like, I'm still only 40,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
100%. Yeah, sometimes it just feels like Sisyphus.
mhm.
I was definitely at that stage a few months ago. It's like, oh my God, there's so much work. It's gonna, like, I'm never gonna finish, but you do. Yeah.
Well, especially when you look at it like sentence by sentence by sentence, and you're like, this is a long book to go you know. And so, yeah, just it does feel like that it's never going to end sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.